Morning, everybody. It's 8:43 on this Wednesday, the 10th of July. I want to remind you we are halfway through the second week in July. And just a brief reminder, it has been 16 years in a row, according to Stock Traders Almanac, that the first 2 weeks of July have been the best 2 weeks of the year. Summer rally, average gain over those 16 years, 4.5%. So that is substantial. And, we've certainly seen it. Unfortunately, we haven't seen it across the board. We've only seen it in, those seven stocks, which now represents over 45% of the gain in the S&P, which, just continues to move higher. Okay, there's again no news of importance pre-open today. Obviously, Powell up on the hill. They're trying to beat him up. He's trying to beat them up. The bottom line is, the politicians, the Democrats say he's not, that the media is not, and that the Fed is not doing enough to support Biden. Well, that's not their job. And so, as far as I'm concerned, that's really bullshit. Okay, so pre-opening comment, video number 2199. So we're getting close to another centennial. Okay, Dow is currently up about 20, NASDAQ up 88, and the S&P is up another 16. Asia slightly lower, Europe slightly higher. China CPI came in well, as did their June PPI, down 0.8 as a year over year. Expected was down 1.4, so not quite as good as expected. But on the CPI, on the month over month, it was minus 0.2%. Expectation was minus 0.1. Last was minus 0.1. So 0.2 year over year to the downside on CPI is good. Japan's PPI, 0.2 month over month, was expected to be 0.4, and the last was 0.7. So they are still continuing to go in the wrong direction. The former Bank of Japan's governor thinks they should loosen the 2% inflation target. So, market may have had a nice move there, but the yen has gotten pounded. It was over 160. Things are not great there. In Europe, Italy industrial production 0.5 month over month. Expected was 0.0, so better. And last month was minus 1.0, minus 3.3 year over year. So things are slightly picking up there. Volkswagen lowered their sales forecast for the year because of closure, partially because of the possible closure of another EV plant in Brussels. Mercedes-Benz vehicle sales in Q2 down 6% year over year. So these are not great things that are going on everywhere. At 10 o'clock, we have May wholesale inventories. Consensus is 0.6. Prior was 0.1. And at 10:30, we have the weekly crude inventories. It's really going to be hard to beat last month's 12.16 million barrel draw. But we'll see how that comes out. We really didn't get a big move on that draw. We did get up to 84 and change, but came right back down to the 81.5, 82 area. Microsoft, this is kind of interesting for both Microsoft and Apple. Microsoft is up $1.72, not that that matters a whole lot. It's 0.4%. It has given up its seat as an observer on the OpenAI board. And it's also looking to increase Xbox game source. But Apple will not put observers on the OpenAI board. So, you're seeing a little bit backing off from two of the biggest names in that OpenAI deal. Taiwan Semi up $4 and change. June revenues increased 28%. I think, part of that is being pulled forward, but it is up 2.3%, and for the last couple of days has been making new all-time highs both here and there. Illumina buying Fluent Biosciences. Stock is 110, up almost $4 or 4%. Honeywell slightly lower, agreed to acquire Air Product, which is a liquefied nat gas process technology. $1.81 billion, all cash transaction. And Chipotle, retirement of a CFO in March of next year, and Brian Dykes appointed as Executive VP and CFO at UPS. So, the chart on the screen is one of my favorites. It is the copper. And this is the daily, and I want to point out a couple of things. First of all, we are still under the zero line on the MACD, even though it did cross here. It did bounce off this red line, which is the 100-day moving average. It broke out. We took 100% gain on our CPER calls. The 28s, the 29s closed at a quarter. They were down to a nickel. They were up to 50 cents. I still see some action there. Here's the reason why. We broke out again just above this 453, 454. This has been a classic chart. We broke out, we ran up, we came back into a consolidation. After we made a new all-time high and came back down, we came right back to that point of breakout. Started back up, could not get through this 454.70, 455 area. We did. This is where we sold that first half after the cross to the upside of the 5 and 20. For the past 4 days, we have come down, or the last 3 days. We have flagged out slightly lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low. Right back to that 454 area. So several times we have broken out. We have come back down to test those breakouts, and I think that that's what we're going at now. And by the way, the volume on the downside, after the volume, the huge volume on the breakout, the volume on the downside has been less than average. So I really like this one. The gold and silver both came down. They are both recovering. Gold up another 20 today. Silver up another quarter. It was up $2 and change last week. Was the biggest gainer in any of the metals. Let's see what else is going on. As I said, the S&P is higher. Dow is now up 11, NASDAQ is up 77. So those are pretty much in the same area. The yield on the 2-year is 461, and on the 10-year is about 428. The spread is hanging right around unchanged for the week. The S&P now up 14 after being slightly higher at up 18. The dollar is down slightly. Bitcoin is doing nothing. I'm not surprised because I have been somewhat negative on this. I am not surprised that we cannot get back through this $60,000 level. I mean, we came down hard. We had a big range inside day that we closed basically unchanged, a short range day to the upside yesterday, a short range day so far today with a higher high and a higher low, but again, right into that 60. 60 to 62 is going to be a tough area here, even though the MACD is, really depressed and looks like it could roll back to the upside. I'm just not seeing it for the next couple of days. The bonds, as I mentioned, are up a little, yields down a little on that economic news and Powell's statements. All right, everyone, have a good morning, and let's see if we can't get that copper up again.